All right, moving right along. Next up, we have our number specific tools. So back to that transform tab in our query editor. Assuming we have a numerical column selected, you'll see a group of number specific tools active that look like this. And the first option within those number tools are the statistics functions. These are your aggregators like sum, min, max, median, average, standard deviation, and count distinct. Now, you may be wondering, if you have a whole column selected and you apply an aggregation function that's designed to return a single value, how does that work? And I'll show you exactly how that works as soon as we jump into Power BI, but the answer is that these all return one value. So the entire table gets replaced with one single value. And as a result, you really don't use these statistics functions within the query editor as a means of transforming or preparing a table for loading, but rather as a way to explore it and maybe get some information about it. So the count of products, the maximum costs, the median age, questions like that. Now, the next set of tools within this group, the standard, scientific, and trigonometry tools, these actually allow you to apply row-level operations. So you can apply some standard operations like addition, multiplication, division, or some more advanced calculations like log, sine, tangent, etc. And these are actually applied to each value in a column. So unlike the statistics options, these tools are applied to each individual row in the table. So we're going to be using a ton of arccosine and arctangent throughout the course. Just kidding, we're not going to actually touch the trigonometry stuff. If you're looking to go deep into the trigonometry world, unfortunately, I'm not your guy. But that's neither here nor there. In addition to those standard, scientific, and trig functions, you also have your info functions. And these basically just allow you to define binary flags, either true, false, or 1, 0, to mark each row in a column, whether it's even, odd, positive, or negative. So let's open up Power BI and practice some of these number tools. All right, so here we are in the AdventureWorks report. This time, instead of grabbing new data, I actually want to edit the product data that we've already connected to. So in that case, I'm going to go to my Edit Queries button. And that just jumps me straight to the query editor, where I'll see the two connections that I have in place, product lookup and customer lookup. You'll notice that all of the applied steps are still there, preserved. And in this case, I want to jump into product lookup and play with some of these number specific functions. So if I jump to the Add Column tab, here are my number specific tools. You'll notice that the statistics function is grayed out. And remember, because the statistics functions are aggregators, they're going to return a single value. So it doesn't make sense to add a new column that's derived by one of these stats functions. But when we move to the Transform tab, now you'll see the same set of number tools, and this statistics option will be active. And here you'll see all of those aggregation functions. So let's say we wanted to know the number of unique products captured in this lookup table. I could select the product name column, for instance, go into Transform, Statistics, and you can see that all of the options that require a numerical input, like sum, min, max, are grayed out. Since I'm selecting a text column, the only thing I can do here is count the values or count the distinct values. And in fact, all of my other number specific tools are grayed out as well. So in this case, I want a distinct count of products. I can select that last option, and my whole table disappears and is replaced with that one aggregated value of 293. So what that tells me is that there are 293 unique product names in my product lookup table. And like I mentioned, as you can see, it's pretty obvious this isn't a means of transforming or preparing data for loading it into Power BI. It's more of an exploratory analysis. So almost every time you use these stats functions, you're going to go ahead and remove that last step to return back to where you started. So let's go through a couple other quick examples. I'm going to scroll all the way to the right to my product price column. And now in this case, I'm curious, what's the average product price in this AdventureWorks data set? So back to my transform menu, the only place I can access my statistics tools, and I can drill in and calculate the average retail price, which is $714.44. Now that feels pretty high, but if we close back out, you'll see that we're dealing with cycling products, which include some pretty high ticket items like these road frames. And if we scroll over, you'll see that some of these are $1,200, $1,300. Some are even higher. In fact, we can go ahead and use another similar statistics function to answer that question precisely. Transform, statistics, maximum this time. And we see that the highest priced item, the maximum product price in the lookup table, is $3,578.27, which must be an extremely expensive bicycle. So there we go. We can X out back to where we started. And let's test out just a couple more of these tools. Scroll back to our cost and price columns. This time I want to round these off to just 2 decimal places. So let's do it both at once. I can click product cost, hold shift, click price to grab both. And then I want to transform these columns. Don't want to add anything new. I'm going to use the rounding tool this time. And what I can do is choose the third option, round, and say, let's round it to 2 decimal places. Press OK. Both those columns are transformed. Now both reflect just 2 decimal places, and we're good to go there. Now, one last thing I want to show you. I want to do a demonstration of these standard operations here. And so what I'm going to do is not transform this column, but I'm going to select the product price and add a new column using a standard operator. So what we're going to do in this example is we're going to add a multiplication step here. And what we'll do is multiply each value in our product price column by 0.9. In other words, I want to return 90% of the product price for each row. And this might make sense if AdventureWorks as a company, often ran 10% off deals. This might be something like a discount product price. So I can press OK. It's going to create a new column. By default, it gives the column header a name called multiplication. So let's double click and let's call that discount price and press enter. And just like we modified the product price and product cost columns, let's go into transform, rounding, and we're going to round this to 2 decimal places and press OK. And that looks good. So I think that's just about everything that we need to do as far as modifications to the product lookup table are concerned. So let's head to home. And now when we press close and apply, it basically just updates the query, loads the refresh table into our model, and there you have it. So nothing else has changed. We still see our tables here. This product lookup now reflects those new fields that we added, including discount price here at the bottom. So there you have it. That's your crash course in query editing number tools.